Okay, let's go over the Atari Age forums. I've never really visited this place, so I'm not sure if it's just full of Amico fans or nerds or what's going on, but apparently Tommy came back from his vacations, and we're going to take a look and see just at all the BS that he's been spewing, because apparently it's really funny. So he just got back from vacation, and so he says he's going to reply, or he's going to look through the last 15 pages or so and respond to every comment. So the first thing here is there's a lot of confusion with the controller pricing, I believe, because the first ones to go up were the special editions in Canada. So first of all, why would the special editions pricing go up or be announced before the standard controllers? That makes no sense. You would think to avoid any confusion on the official webpage, they should have the retail price of the console and how much the controllers are at least cost. There should be no reason why there is confusion. So he says $70 for a normal controller. So it was $10 less than what I had predicted based off of the Galaxy Purple one on the EB Games webpage. Still bloody expensive. So we did have verification that's the price for a singular controller. For two controllers, that would be like maybe a decent price, but for one, that's still insane. He says, considering all the technology we have packed in one controller, this is an incredible deal. That is such a bullshit. The technology is old. That is old technology. There's no reason that it should be that expensive. Okay, let's keep reading. This is an incredible deal with almost little to no margin for Intellivision once you consider the capacitive color touchscreen and the fact that unlike Sony, Microsoft and Nintendo, we're not buying in massive bulk, blah, blah, blah. That makes no sense. First of all, I don't believe them at all. Second of all, every console, they sell the console as like a loss leader. There's no profit margins usually in the console itself. Nintendo is usually the only one that has some profit. But the accessories is where the companies like Sony and Microsoft at least make some money. What kind of company would have the console as having the profit margins while the controller's a loss leader? That makes no sense. I don't believe him at all. So he said, yet we are still less expensive than Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, which are two controllers, so that is not a good example to use, Tommy. And the same price as the new PS5 controller. Imagine if the PS5 controller had a screen instead of the touchpad no one probably never utilized. He's comparing himself to the PS5 controller with its, modern technology and advanced technology to the Amico controller with a dinky dinky color screen that's super dated. Oh man, he knows that Ars Technica released the specs of the controller, and when they revealed how poor the touchscreen is, like just everything with the controller, how cheap it is, why would he make that comparison? It's just insane. So he says, I can tell you the retail price would jump at least $20 to, if not $25. And again, they are mass-produced, blah, blah, blah. So he's saying that because they have the color touchscreen, it's $20 to $25 extra in the cost. So I don't believe that, first of all, because it is a really cheap, old, dated touchscreen. And second of all, if that were to be the case, wouldn't it make sense just to get rid of that touchscreen and use tactile buttons? The value for the touchscreen, which they've shown is just used mostly as a menu option or just for, Finnegan Fox jumping, why would you increase the price of the controller $20 to $25 for such a feature that they're barely using? Terrible idea. So he says special edition controllers are $80 because the extra cost of the type of finish and work that goes into them. They are not just high quality molded plastics like the standard editions. So why? Does that mean the standard editions are cheap plastic and this is a better quality plastic? Wouldn't it just, maybe I'm naive, but wouldn't it just be a different dye in the plastic that's being molded? It shouldn't cost $10 extra. All things considered, the controllers are a heck of a bargain. No, it's not. He spelled bargain wrong too. But price and perception and everything, so I get the consider. It's not a... Is he insane? He is insane. Official right there. Insane. But here's the good news. Once you have all the chance to touch and play this, you're blah, blah, blah. You'll see how great design, blah, blah, blah. No, it looks terrible. I watched that Big Smoke guy. I can't remember what the channel was. It was like a channel of 30 subscribers. Play games with Tommy, and he looked bored out of his mind, and the controller didn't look anything special at all. So scroll back down here. Oh, this is a good one. I'd be curious to know how E3 has impacted the average numbers of daily pre-orders. Amazing. We've seen it grow by almost 100%. Well, some folks will say, oh, you're doing one a day, now you're doing two? No, we were well into double digits to begin with. That's not a good number, Tommy. That's still terrible. Wait, maybe I can bring up the calculator. There you go. I already did this calculation when I read it earlier. So if they're doing double digits beforehand of pre-orders per day, and now it's doubled, and it wasn't well into double digits, so we'll say 75 a day they were doing before. So if they had 150, now they're doubling it to 150 a day. In 1 year from now, if they were to do still 150 per day, they would only have 54,750 units in 1 year of pre-orders. That's piddly. That's very small. He's wanting to have Wii-like numbers, which is like in the millions. So for them to even get to 1 million, as you can already see on the side here, how much it is, it would take 20 years at that rate to break the $1 million unit sold mark. So I don't know why he would write this. Going from double digits to double, being in double digits and increasing by twice is still tiny. Like for him to have good numbers, he'd have to be well into the hundreds or thousands per day. So he said, but like I mentioned to everyone before E3, the biggest reason to do E3 was for us to be put in front of retailers and distributors. That's the real reason why E3 exists. Not completely, no. And from the standpoint, we absolutely knocked it out of the park. No, we didn't. It's been almost pure negativity since then. So many big box and chain retailers from around the world are literally lined up to eventually carry Amico. It couldn't have gone better from that regards. He is lying so badly there. I've worked at Best Buy before, and I'm familiar with how, especially with electronics, on how it's sold. Most retailers, the products that they seek out and desire are the ones that are, first of all, low price point, something that can appeal to everyone, and something that would be more of an impulse buy that, people throw in the cart even though if they weren't originally going to the store for that. Those are the ones they want with high margins, of course. So exactly, if you watch Shark Tank, which I always bring up Shark Tank because it's a good show, a couple of products that's done really well on that show were the Scrub Daddy and the Squatty Potty. So these are just like cheap products that people are like, they see, immediately understand what it is, and fills a need that every house needs, like a scrubbing tool and Squatty Potty. Everyone craps, so it would appeal to a lot of everyone. The Amico is like electronics. Retailers don't want to sell high-priced electronics because the margins are low, and something like the Amico, which has zero brand awareness, it has no, like, has nothing. Like nobody, you'd have to educate the consumer on on what it is, why it's different from the other consoles. It requires a lot of effort, and to make matters worse, because it is at a high price point, it's going to have to be either put in a cage or in a glass cabinet, or sometimes they have a security wrap around it. So it's not a product that's going to be front and center in front of everything. So I'm going to call BS on this and saying that retailers around the world want to carry their product because it doesn't make sense. Like, why would they want to carry this product? At Best Buy or even at GameStop, EB Games, they prefer products that are like really high margin and are easy to sell. So that's why you would usually see a lot of accessories like carrying cases and those crappy things that you can put on the controller, like the little plastic tabs that you can put, or whatever they're called, like the things you put over the analog sticks and stuff, because they're like 90% or 95% margins on those things. They don't take up a lot of shelf space, and it's an easy sell. Like, people look at them and they can figure it out right away what it is. The Amico, what's going to happen is, especially at smaller places like GameStop or EV Games, which have shrunk, how much game stuff they have now. It's mostly, a lot more like toys and clothing because those have higher margins. What's going to happen at the Amico is at GameStop, it will be either at the top of the store, like usually they have a shelf really high up, or it'll be tucked away in, like, there's always a miscellaneous area where it doesn't fit in with anywhere else in the store. So it'll be tucked away there. So there's no way that Intellivision will have the money to, buy shelf space or buy premium shelf space, which, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo already do, or any of the end caps, because those are extremely expensive to buy. So it's just a load of BS. I guarantee you that big box retailers give no craps about this. Like, maybe once it goes on clearance, those liquidation places will buy it up, but that's about it. And second of all, even if that was the case, that there was interest, does Tommy not realize that this isn't like back in 2005, and that most places are highly successful because they sell direct to customer or direct to consumer, like the Evercade and other systems? That way you don't, you cut out the middleman. People are not shopping, especially during the pandemic. Everyone's ordering stuff, getting delivered straight to their house. So I won't dwell much more on that one, but that's just a load of BS. Well, here's the one with that hands-on preview. He did not seem like he loved it. That guy looked bored out of his mind. Skip through this. So the person's asking about the launch, and hopefully there's a soft launch in October. We have lots of scenarios that could play out. Still working on how we're going to approach it. So they still don't have a plan. Playdate has a plan. Evercade has a plan. Everyone else has a plan. Tommy still doesn't know what the plan is, despite the fact that the console's supposed to release in 3 months. Like, come on. Big financial impacts either way. Blah, blah, blah. Or else we could lose a ton of money, and consoles we produce would cost us double than what we sold them for. So he really expects us to believe, even after the Ars Technica article showed that it's like a $30 of components in the console, that it would cost double, so $500 for them to produce an Amico console with 2 controllers. Like, come on. Like, why does he do this? He knows that the leak was out there. People know, well, most people realize that the parts are cheap. There's no reason. If it's that expensive, then why not just make a system with a Raspberry Pi as the main thing? Like, come on. That's just lies. He hopes to have more solid info by the end of the month. Well, it's pretty bad that, the CEO still doesn't know what the plan is. So skip down here. How come they don't have videos of me? Like, come on. This guy's creepy. That face, like, I don't want to, like, rag on people because it's not cool, but untrustworthy. I didn't trust this guy because, well, the way he looked, and he sat on a couch cross-legged. I don't trust people who do that. Yet another person who played it and loved it. I'm looking forward to seeing his 5 next blah, blah, blah. He's my newest favorite channel. Uh-oh. Where's OEB Pete? He's gonna get upset that he's found a new guy to take over for OEB Pete.